In the UK, there's a half-term holiday in around October. And during that holiday, I listened to David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. That book was very, very cool. I can't remember why I started listening to it, but I obviously knew it existed, and I knew David Goggins was. They don't know me, son. But yeah, it was great. And I have a very distinct memory of, it's quite a long audiobook, maybe 20 hours or so. Maybe that could be wrong. But I was on a train going up to London. I was very sleepy. And I was sort of in a lucid state. And as this dude with a very nice voice was reading in my ear about how it was like 100-mile race in sort of, just imagine the thought was grey, okay, grey background, it's raining, just big flat grey grass, I don't know, mycelium, whatever, and he's just running, and he's got broken legs and broken everything. He's gone. And after the race, he goes in a fetal position. He's coughing blood, he needs to get to hospital. There's a whole other bit of story associated with that, which is just so badass. But actually, if you want to listen to it, I'd 100% recommend it. It's maybe one of, maybe not the best book I've ever read, but or listened to. It was just very useful because it's completely changed where I sit. And I remember him saying that in moments like that, there was this wall of pain, and it would happen multiple times to him throughout a race. And that once he broke through that, there was pure happiness on the other side. I was because he realized that there was just so much potential that he had. And listening to that, I was whoa, this kind of sounds cool. If there's infinite happiness, then why not? Why should I not give it a go? And obviously it's the whole did the means justify the ends? If I was maybe I could very easily convince someone to say, you should steal this person's wallet because it will give you infinite happiness. And they're it will give me infinite happiness. It's a very convincing argument, but I don't know, David Goggins is so cool, and he was going through so much pain that I was thinking maybe this trade-off is actually real, and it's not just some coercive thing to try and get you involved. He seems like a nice dude. And so I decided to do a marathon untrained the day after I read that book. I was maybe about to say, in hindsight, not a good idea, but it was amazing. So it was a few months ago at this point, because it's December now, it was October. And my basic plan was, I was sat there the night after I finished this book, thinking fuck, it was not from a place of, I'm like a pussy, I was I just want to know this side of life. It sounds like there's so much depth to your psyche or conscious that I hadn't tapped into, because I live a relatively comfortable life, and it's great. I'm not saying that I need to go and just do tons and tons of hard things for the sake of things, but I kind of want a full experience of life. I want the yin and the yang, and this sounds like I want to go to the shadow realm and steal a bit of extra energy back to enhance the rest of my life. And I did. The day after I finished that book, I was sat in my room it was late at night. It was maybe, or early in the morning, 2 a.m. or so, yeah. And I was on ChatGPT, and I said, okay, I want to do this. So many warning signs. I could maybe put it up if I can do editing. Of don't do this, do this. But I'm a relatively healthy. I'm 17. I'm fit. I think I have. I thought I had pretty good cardio. I kind of not. I'd swam 10K before. I'd did better than I can run a lot. Obviously nowhere close to a marathon, which is 26 miles, 40.2 kilometers. But I thought, no, I want to see what happens. And there was a bit of me, it said, you could do a half marathon and all these things. So I was yeah, that sounds good. But this is the whole thing of the infinite happiness thing. The book said, and if anyone knows it, it would be David Goggins. He said, like, don't let the expectations and stuff sort of get in the way and cause you to play safe, because where most people see an impressive limit that you've already shouldn't have been able to do, that's just a 10% maybe, or I think it's 40% is what he says. And so I know, okay, I'm going to do a marathon and I'll just see what happens. And it makes sense that ChatGPT was trying to like just try and get me to be more coy by going half marathon, because it's going to be trained on like an aggregate of people. And so if there were going to be sort of things that came up about, I think I'm above average in terms of like fitness, so it might already be a little bit too much. I'm waffling. I said, I am doing the marathon. How can I have the least chance of dying? And it said, okay, you need this amount of like glucose stuff, you need like long burning sugars, short burning sugars, water, hydration, apples. So and then it was very early in the morning. I said, how much sleep do I want? And could I just leave at like 4 a.m. and then I'd be done by like, I don't know, 12 or something? And it was like, no, you crazy, man. I was like, oh yeah, but I didn't want to fully endanger myself. It was a very bad decision logistically, because we didn't have a car. My mum was away somewhere, and so had I just collapsed somewhere, again, very bad planning. Instead of just doing laps, I thought, no, I want to just run. And so that meant if my house was here and say car range, if I collapse and they can get me in like 10 minutes, would be like sort of here. And I said, oh, let me just kind of run over here. So I was like, I was fucked if I got fucked. But I'm here now, so I survived to tell the story. I eat breakfast. It's like a bunch of healthy stuff like honey, bananas, like little things. I just, I'll just run. So that's what I did. I would do, I think it was 5 minutes of running, 5 minutes of walking, or it was a minute of running, a minute of walk. It was like an interval like that. And I went I've got a mate who lives maybe an hour, maybe 40 minutes bus ride away. So I thought I'll run to his house first. And then I got to his area. There's a bit around there that I'd never been to. So I thought, I'll go there. I found a nature reserve. I found all these cool little things. Being very early in the morning as well, or just in these secluded spots, I saw these little wildlife things. It was really cool. And my cardio was holding up pretty well. And yeah, so I just kept running and just running around like little streets, sort of think, I'll get to here. And then literally halfway through, I think I was maybe 2.5 hours in. So my pace was looking really good, because if I was halfway at 2.5 hours, I think, I could like maybe be done in like 6 hours, accounting for the fact I'm going to slow down. That was a stupid idea. I stopped to get lunch. I had, what did I have? Like a sandwich with like some healthy meat in it, or whatever, like mackerel. And then I also searched like, what should I eat? It said, have some fast acting sugars to get my energy back up. And so I had like a Pepsi, ice cream, and then something else. I set off again. This is a very important point as well. I had started running, and my left shoe, the eyes where my laces go through. So these things, this had torn a day before. And so I had to move my whole lace down one rung. And it was not in these, it was in like trainers. So it would be like this one tore and it went to here, which meant that I had less support on my foot. So I had to tight tighter, but it was right across sort of the top of the arch of my foot. It was so bad. And I was there thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, because my feet were hurting. And then I get up from having lunch, and I just can't run. Like, I don't know if I cramped or something, but it was what I now understand from more gym knowledge, to be my hip abductors, my left hip abductor. So if these were my legs, these are my feet, and then this is where my hips connect. I actually can't touch my elbows. It's a bit weird. It would be sort of here. So not like on the top, not on the back. This is quad hamstring. This is your hip abductor. So your inner thigh. It had like, my leg wasn't moving right. It like, maybe the ligaments or something had just decut. It was bad. It was really bad. And yeah, so I was literally reduced to walking. It was maybe 3.5 hours in at that point, and I was like at 25 kilometers out of the 42. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get to somewhere where if I need to, I can get a bus. And so I walked up to a more urban area. That got me to like, I don't even know if it was 30. Like, I was looking at these numbers, and before like the kilometers, I was like, oh, I just done 2K. Bro, it was agony. Like, I was looking at the shit and like what felt as frequently, and I was like, oh my God, it would be like 0.1 kilometer, 0.2. And I just did not see a way like forward. But I did know, so I've done D.A.V., Duke of Edinburgh in England before. It's like a thing with scouts. You plan a hike, bring your own tents, bring your own rucksacks and sleeping bags. And those are big walks. They're like maybe 20, 30K in a day over a few days. So they can very easily reach like 60, 70K. And so I knew I had the capacity over that length of time to do it. And I also knew I did those pretty comfortably. The worst bit of those is where, well, not the worst bit, it's the worst and the best bit, but the most inconvenient bit is when like you're playing jokes on each other. And also if you get a whiner, if someone's going, oh, my leg hurts, or someone calling, it's a direct call out, people in your group, fat tree stumps. Yeah, you know who you are. Annoying, but it was amazing and it wouldn't have changed it. So I knew I had the capacity to do this sort of distance with that amount of pace. And I knew that I'd had those thoughts before on D.A.V., Duke of Edinburgh, thinking, fuck, how am I going to do it? And it's crushing the first time. You have the thought ever. And I did a few years ago on Duke of Edinburgh thinking, yeah. But then at the end of it, you do realise, it's just a thought. Because you do end up doing it if you just keep going. But I was looking at this maybe taking 9 hours. It was bad. And so I thought, okay, so I'll try and up the pace. And it was at that point, like, I would just start kind of running. But it was like the slightly bouncier impact on these tendons hurt. Like, it was It was bad. And I knew in reading having David Goggins' book that this dude's fought through so much more pain than me. And that this was nothing else. And I was thinking, oh, is this the pain barrier that I have to like get through to find like bliss on the other side? Because he said once your brain sort of internalizes the fact that you're not going to quit with this, it just decides to shut off the pain because it's inhibiting you. And so it was kind of good. That's kind of what happened here. I decided I was going to do a marathon. And so it kind of treated that as normal. I'd already done my half marathon and it just kind of ignored that. That's the first time I've realised it now, actually. But yeah, this was a point where I was thinking, oh, is this one of those pain walls? And I didn't push through. I did kind of pussy out that because it was really bad. But that's no justification for it because it was really bad to do the marathon in the first place. But that's now me sitting here thinking, was there more pain to go through? But I'm not. I knew I was not. Well, I don't know anything. Under the right conditions, maybe I could have done it, and maybe that was the right conditions. I have a lot of stuff to do in the mental lab to develop, but I decided to keep to walking. I was checking my pee because I would stop like every hour or so to make sure I wasn't dehydrated because one of the big risks here was liver failure if I just put or kidney maybe just under so much like stress. And yeah, where did I get? I got out of that urban area and maybe was looking at another 15, 13 kilometers and just thought, oh, I know I can walk it. If I can just keep taking steps, because it wasn't getting bad. It wasn't getting worse, but it was bad. And so I could just keep walking. And that was like my little comfort area of where I was happy to be. And so I walked like another it basically turned into DV, but I was like staggering because my leg didn't work properly. My left leg was just, I was having to use muscles I wouldn't normally use for walking. And it was very weird. I didn't have a lot of weight on me, unlike Divi, fortunately. But I made it out of the area into then a slightly sort of a place with a bunch of like golf clubs and parks and things. And I knew there was a cafe, and that was quite close to my home. And I'd planned it out when I was sat down for lunch thinking, okay, how do I get 20 more K out of this? Because if I'm having to if I'm doing it through going I'd previously done it, just go, oh, go down this road and this road and this road, this road and this road. I literally just had to think, okay, I need to walk and walk, because that would just cut so much. That would help a lot. And yeah, so I walked up and down, and this little triangle, the urban area is down here, my house is here, countryness. So I went up and down. And I stopped off in a little cafe there. I actually saw someone from school that works there. I don't know him that well, but I must have looked like death, because he goes because he's got to be friendly. He might be friendly anyway, but you kind of got to be, it's a cafe, it's your job. But honestly, just yeah, that's all they got from me. And yeah, so I sat down, had a bacon sandwich, very, very unlike David Goggins and stuff. But and this is what I'm thinking. I'm not I'm neither happy nor dishappy with it. It was just a good experience overall. If I wanted to do something much harder, I know I definitely could have. I could also have done something much easier, but it don't matter. It was a good experience. And yeah, I got to that cafe, and that was 2K left, and there's also 2K from my house. Actually, whatever. I get to my house, I have 1 kilometer left. And at this point, I literally just, bro, I cannot walk. I hadn't been able to walk properly for maybe 20 kilometers, and I'm just doing laps in my garden. I'm just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Each one of these was maybe, trying to think, there would be a certain number of back and forths that would then give me 1 tick. So I knew roughly how many I needed to do. Bro, it was so bad. It was really difficult, because after I'd done it, I was like, I've done it. And I see on my little Strava app, marathon, personal best, 8 hours or something. It's like, 8 hours is a very bad marathon time. I am doing that untrained. If I'd tried to run the London Marathon, they would have closed the event before I finished, probably. That's not true, but it's a very, very bad time. Yeah. And so do not take marathon tips from me. And yeah, I basically lay down because I couldn't walk properly. I was crawling around my house for the rest of that evening. Weirdly though, I kind of still had the mental energy. I was Millie hopped on Discord and was like, "I've done it, guys!" And I was like, "Holy shit, that's awesome!" And yeah, and then I played flipping Fortnite or something. But yeah, then I went to bed. I reckon I slept pretty well. The stuff I had to deal with for the next week was bad, because for the next few days I still couldn't walk properly. Then after, it was in the half term, so I had a little bit of buffer time. Got back into school after the holiday ended a week later, and I still just had pain in my hip abductor, and I had that for maybe 3 weeks. It was very weird. The things left an impact on me. But more than anything, the running itself didn't leave a mental impact on me. I didn't see it as an impossible thing. I didn't see it as marathons, because one of the things my dad, so much respect to my mum and dad for sort of I don't know, just being supportive of it. It was good. But my dad was like, "Oh no, you should respect a marathon." I was like, "Okay, but if respecting it means that you don't try," and this is all the thing of "Oh, you could train before and then you're respect it." It's no, I won't respect it. I'm gonna do it, because otherwise that's just a limit I'm imposing on myself. Yeah, so it wasn't I'd done something that I thought was impossible. And it wasn't I'd done something that was like, oh, this is super difficult. But it was super difficult. And it was very, like, maybe, like, close to being really impossible or something. But, like, though, I didn't do it because of those things. I just kind of wanted to get this side of consciousness, this, like, glimpse into the shadow realm. I did get a little bit of that in that point where I came up against this pain that I just could not see any way around. And so now there was a little thought after it, like, oh, I mean, you thought that was difficult. Like, David Goggins, he's doing like 100-mile races and stuff. That's 4 more of those. Why don't you try and run it again tomorrow? And they're just like, no. And then I went back to my comfort zone. But I'll wear it on my chest. I'm happy to say it. Like, because now I know where my new limits are and I can break through. I don't know if I'll do it in future. But yeah, the main thing I took away from this was see everything instead of like trying to put these things of like, oh, it's impossible and stuff. I kind of just thought, oh, wow, this guy's done the most incredible things, and the things he's talked through of these things that sound impossible to do, and he's still done them. It just kind of changed the way I looked at stuff of like, it is possible if you put maybe enough in, or if you do put enough in. And yeah, there's going to be a much better way to say it, but language is the best tool humans have to try and describe the intangible nature of the universe. And it's a good tool, but there are still certain little things about the universe that you can't capture with it. And this is one of those things where you really do, and this is why I wanted to run so bad after reading the book, you really do just have to go there. So there's a little bit of New Year's motivation, actually, considering it's the 28th. It's well worth it, because like now I've got that little thing for the rest of my life. Awesome dad law, by the way, because like it's just cool to have done it. But yeah, it's really good. An impression to finish. Stoic from How to Train Your Dragon 2. You're as beautiful as the day I lost you. Look up. That's pretty good, if I do say so myself. Have a good evening, everybody. Oh, wait, actually, one more thing. YouTube, fucking bullshit. I would like occasionally put stuff on like an Instagram or something of my videos, just like post a link, just to see if it would get more views. I've done a video 2 days ago called Christmas about me ranting in a Sam Sulek t-shirt. Awful title, awful thing. Didn't send it to anyone. Expected it to tank. It's got more likes than the other things and like more comments. I don't know what the algorithm's done there. I think it's just because I was wearing a stupid Sam Sulek tee, because it's got me views and it's the best fucking shirt of all time. Yeah, big things are coming. Bunch of cool stuff that I kind of want to try in the new year. I will try. So yeah, watch this space. It'll be very interesting. But yeah, you should fucking bullshit, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, yeah. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.